Nigeria's 64th anniversary as an independent country afforded the opportunity for critical analysis of how the nation is faring and the best strategies for recovery in the face of daunting challenges that has affected the cost of living at a time of economic upheaval. That's our focus on Special Report.
Nigeria, the giant of Africa with its myriad natural resources and blossoming population, marked another milestone in independence, and the day brought to the fore the current realities facing Nigerians and the task of the President Bola Tinubu administration to reward the faith placed in them by citizens who yearn to see the dividends of democracy.
Fellow Nigerians,
and the President in his national broadcast reassured the country of his commitment to the renewed hope agenda with the measure the administration is taking.
I am deeply aware of the struggles many of you face in these challenging times. Our administration knows that many of you struggle with rising costs and the search for meaningful employment. I want to assure you that your voices are heard. As your president, I assure you that we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Exactly 64 years ago, our founding fathers chose democracy as a form of government and launched the dream of a great country that will lead the rest of Africa out of poverty, ignorance, and underdevelopment. A beacon of hope for the rest of Africa and the world. Over 6 decades later, we can look back and Nigerians worldwide can see how well we have succeeded in realizing the lofty dream of our founding fathers. The world is witnessing and benefiting from the can-do spirit of Nigerian people, our massive intellectual capacity, and our enterprise and industry in all vocations, from art to science, technology to infrastructure. The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation, we must never lose sight of how far we have come in forging and holding our country together. Since independence, our nation has survived many crises and upheavals that led to the dissolution and disintegration of many other nations worldwide. 6 years after independence, our country descended into a political crisis that led to a bitter and avoidable civil war. Since returning from the brink of that darkest moment, we have learned to embrace our diversity and manage our differences better as we continue to work towards engendering a more perfect union.
He also spoke of the critical time his administration came into office with the many challenges to contend with.
As we work to overcome the challenges of the day, we remain mindful of next generation as we seek to galvanize their creative energy towards a better future. We lead today with the future we wish to bequeath to our children in focus. recognizing that we cannot design a future that belongs to them without making them its architects. Considering this, I am pleased to announce the gathering of a national youth conference. This conference will be a platform to address the diverse challenges and opportunities confronting our young people, who constitute more than 60% of our population. It will provoke meaningful dialogue and empower our young people to participate actively in nation building by ensuring that their voices are heard in shaping the policies that impact their lives. We are creating a pathway for a brighter tomorrow. The 30-day conference will unite young people nationwide to collaboratively develop solutions to issues such as education, employment, innovation, security, and social justice. The modality of this conference and selection of delegates will be designed in close consultation with our young people through their representatives. Through this compact, it will be our job as leaders to ensure that their aspirations are at the heart of the conference deliberations. The government will thoroughly consider and implement the recommendations and outcomes from this forum as we remain resolute in our mission to build a more inclusive, prosperous, and united Nigeria.
For the economy, the president highlighted the policies.
The economy is undergoing the necessary reforms and retooling to serve us better and more sustainably. If we do not correct the physical misalignment that led to the current economic downturn, our country will face an uncertain future and the peril of unimaginable consequences. Thanks to the reform, our country attracted foreign direct investment worth more than $30 billion in the last year. Fellow compatriots, our administration is committed to free enterprises, free entry, and free exit in investment while maintaining the sanctity and efficacy of our regulatory processes. This principle guides the divestment transaction in our upstream sector, where we are committed to changing the fortune positively. As such, ExxonMobil surplus divestment will receive ministerial approval in a matter of days, having been concluded by the regulator, NUPRC, in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. This was done in the same manner as other qualified divestment approved in the sector. The move will create vibrancy and increase oil and gas production positively, impacting our economy. The more disciplined approach adopted by the central bank to monetary policy management has ensured stability and predictability in our foreign exchange market. We inherited a reserve of over 33 billion 16 months ago. Since then, we have paid back the inherited forex backlog of 7 billion. We have cleared the ways and means debt of over 30 trillion naira. We have reduced the debt service ratio from 97% to 68%. Despite all this, we have managed to keep our foreign reserve at 37 billion. We continue to meet all our obligations and pay our bills. We are moving ahead with our fiscal policy reforms. We stimulate our productive capacity and create more jobs and prosperity. The Federal Executive Council approved the Economic Stabilization Bill, which will now be transmitted to the National Assembly. This transformative bill will make our business environment more friendly, stimulate investment, and reduce the tax burden on businesses and workers once they are passed into law.
Elsewhere, the president of the Africa Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, a former agriculture minister for Nigeria, pointed out the importance of energy to Africa given Nigeria's important position.
Development is about dignity, right? And there's no dignity when you don't have electricity. You know, you take a look at Africa today. You got 3 people, 16% of global population, 3% of the global electricity access, only 6% of the global energy access. How do you do that? Just before we came in here, I was talking to 2 folks working for GIAP about should we make a case for why we should invest? Actually, we were just talking about that in energy. I say absolutely yes, because as Ajay said, energy is all about how you actually grow economies. It's how you actually invest in industries. It's how you actually create jobs, right? So you cannot really grow global economy without energy. In any case, with Africa just being 2% of that, 3% of that, it means Africa's participation in the global economy will continue to be low. And Africa cannot be at the bottom of the global value chain. You cannot industrialize in the dark. You can't grow in the dark. You can't do that. And so this is fundamental to Africa's growth, development, competitiveness globally. Now, when it comes to the issue of what the numbers are, it's alarming. You know, we have today, the numbers we use to pan around is that it's 600 million people without access to electricity. I think those numbers are actually quite on the low end, because with COVID, rising inflation, with a lot of poverty, many more people that are actually using electricity are now using coal and other things. So that number has actually gone up quite significantly. So the issue that we must therefore say is, what must we do? We need a quantum leap.
The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, had a message for Nigerians on the day.
It is our 64th anniversary, and to congratulate all of us on this upcoming independence, and to say that it is a very, very important milestone, and one that we should really take pride in. As I said earlier, 25 years of unbroken democratic governance is no mean feat, given the relative youth of Nigeria as a nation. So kudos all round to all of us, and I think the charge to all of us is to maintain and improve on what we've got through determination, through commitment, and through collaboration with each other as Nigerians, as human beings.
The Health Sector Renewal Investment.
For the Minister of Health, Dr. Ali Pate, the transformation of the health sector is in view.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had set out a vision for a prosperous country that is people-oriented. And within that vision, the health and well-being of Nigeria's population had been a very significant part of that agenda that he had laid out. Over the last 1 year, we worked hard to establish the building blocks for revamping and transforming Nigeria's health system. And there are very concrete things that we had done. If you recall, on December 12, 2023, we signed a compact between the federal government, 36 state government, and 17 development partners, the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, to execute an approach, which we call sector-wide approach, to improve population health outcomes in Nigeria. That compact sets the asks and the expectations between federal government, states, local government and other development partners, and raised significant resources to revamp primary healthcare system in Nigeria, with the federal government's contribution through the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, and through the Health Insurance Authority and the Vulnerable Groups Fund, and external development partners who committed at that event on December 12, 2023, $3 billion over the next 3 years to support the president's vision. Since then, more than 8,000 primary healthcare centers have received rounds of direct facility financing in all the states of the Federation, which allows them to give stipends to frontline health workers, to provide commodities, and the revitalization of many of the primary healthcare centers in those states is already underway. In addition, we announced the 120,000 frontline health workers that we will retrain. And the president's vision and commitment to this led to the AU heads of states, the African Union heads of state, appointing him as the African Union champion on human resources for health and community delivery. Since that, we have now retrained more than 40,000 frontline health workers, community health workers, nurses, and midwives in the states of our country, and that is underway. We've raised the resources to be able to do that. That's on the primary healthcare side. On the Health Insurance Authority and the Vulnerable Groups Fund, in the last 1 year, 2.7 million Nigerians have been included in the funding that is being provided through the Vulnerable Groups Fund to improve their access by ensuring that they can access healthcare at no cost to them through the NHIA, and several other reforms that are underway. In addition, the emergency medical treatment, the emergency medical ambulances scheme, NAMSAS, we reactivated it, refined it, and have put in place a governance structure, and you will see expansion of the ambulances scheme to accelerate pregnant women getting access to health facilities.
The Minister of Works, Dave Mahi, and the Minister of Information, Mohammed Malagi, spoke of dispositions of patience and unity.
We have been able to come to an era of very good leadership, committed and selfless leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They should have faith in what he's doing. They should have faith in God. Because if you look at all that he's doing, it is for today, and it is for our tomorrow, it is for our children and grandchildren.
We want Nigeria to be optimistic about their country. This is a potentially very promising country, very rich country, population of over 230. We have a lot of talents here. We have people who have what it takes to reform any kind of economy or politics or whatever. I think we need to show more understanding. We need to come together. We need to work harder. We need to forge unity and understanding, and momentarily forget some political differences, but come together and agree that this country needs to move forward.
It also afforded Channels Television the opportunity to hold the Channels Forum for special analysis of the issues facing the country, with the theme Nigeria's Challenging Economy, Strategies for Recovery.
You'll be shocked. In the 60s, agriculture contributed as high as 57% to the country's GDP and over 75% of the country's foreign exchange earnings. So where are we today? And the reason is simple. The suffering, the economic stress is simply because we abandoned agriculture. And as we are now, as a strategy for recovery, what we need to do is to really refocus, which I believe the government is taking the right steps, by refocusing on agriculture. Because once productivity grows there, is the only way, because you need, first of all, to ensure food security. Food sufficiency is key. Without it, the stress will be enormous, which we all are feeling right now. And the import bills today on food is something that is of serious concern. As of 2023, we imported $2 billion worth of wheat. Dairy, $1.5 billion. I mean, it's unbelievable.
These are crops we
these
can
are things
actually...
we can produce. We can. And raw sugar, over $700 million. And we have the land. We have the human resource. You understand? Palm oil, over $600 million. The only way out is for us to refocus, because we have the population, a very youthful population, over 200 million Nigerians now. So even to feed ourselves is an issue. So as a state, I will tell you confidently that Kaduna today, we are leading in maize production. We are leading in ginger. We are leading in tomatoes. Kellogg's is in Lagos, but 90% of the source of their raw materials, the maize, is from Kaduna State. You understand? And so as a government, we are deliberate. The governor is now pushing, because a lot most of this production comes from our smallholder farmers. But they suffer from lack of quality inputs. That's why as a government, the focus now is to support them. We gave over 49,000 of them quality seedlings this year. And by way of fertilizer, federal government has done a lot, which they must be commended for. The cost of fertilizer a bag is 46,000, which is not affordable to especially the smallholder farmers. So with the support of federal government, and then as a state, we also boosted. 15,000 metric tons of fertilizer was distributed to smallholder farmers. 120,000 smallholder farmers benefited from 2 bags each from the state. What's the reason? We want to boost productivity. We want to boost production. And once you lower the cost of input, they will be encouraged to go back to farm. And that's the only way out.
Now, there may be a few things that give an impression of how well the country is doing. One is certainly the economy. One doesn't have to look further than the indices of growth and development to assess whether you are headed in the right direction or not. For Special Report, I'm Olumide Macaulay. Thank you for watching.